Hello everyone. So just for a disclaimer, for the beginning of this video, we're kind of just going to assume that you have a capsule or a player that can kind of move in space and can also look horizontally and vertically. So those are like the pre-requirements for actually implementing raycasting, or at least in this context for what I'm doing right here. But uh, for now, if this video is just going to be about it's building from those two previous concepts. And I mean, this video could just be kind of just understanding how ray casting works. So to start here, so ray casting is, specifically what is a ray, right? And what a ray is let's consider ourselves like, in a point in space where we're at, right? And we have like a pistol. We can kind of think of this pistol as a camera of sorts. And we want to hit a specific, point in space. So like, let's say, this is us casting the array. So this ray here is that array is technically just an invisible line from an origin point that extends to that other point, which is, let's just consider XY. So this requires us to use the camera to actually, you know, for that ray to extend from that camera point and where it's looking at. So right here, what we could do is say camera, then camera right here, then it's going to be uninitialized. We're going to initialize it when the game does start simulation. So we're just going to say get component here so we can access the camera and its components. Let's see. So now that we have accessibility to the camera, we can move on to the update method that actually intends to read input from the user. So if the user, presses down on the mouse, that means that they're supposed to shoot a ray to a specific object, right? They're doing specifically what's happening here, right? So, of course, there has to be some stuff that we have to consider, though. We know that where you're looking and the direction you're looking at, you want the ray to be specifically at that direction you're looking at. You want it to be at the center. You don't want it to, be at the side. So to kind of like visualize this, this is our camera, right? This is our POV, and we're trying to shoot at this point. And the camera is going to be at an aspect ratio. It's probably going to be, this is just an example, right? But we want our point to be right here, right? We want to, when we do shoot that ray, to be, you know, shooting from this point to wherever we're looking. So to actually do that, we do need to divide both the width and the height of the camera and what it is encompassing. So we're going to add vector 3 here. So vector 3, we can call it just point. And what we're intending to do here is to just do half that aspect ratio. So it can actually, this point right here is actually within the middle. So we're going to do vector 3, and we're just going to say, and of course this means that we have to access the camera again. So we're going to say pixel width, and we're going to divide that by 2. We just type it like that. Then right here, pixel height, divide that by 2. And we're just going to ignore the z because we don't need it. So now we're going to make our ray, but we're going to use this method called, so we're still going to access the camera, but we're going to do a screen point to ray. Now, what does this mean, right? Screen point to ray. So what that means is right now, vector 3 is just merely a point. But screen points array converts this vector3 point to actually array itself, for that point to actually be an invisible line. Right now it's just some point in space. So we pass down point so it can actually, when it does update, it becomes array. If, of course, we do press our mouse down. So now what's left is raycast hit here. So raycast hit is just providing information for, what specifically we did hit. So practically raycast hit is just saying the XY value in which was hit. So, let's just say we hit 1, 1. So it's just going to return 1, 1. So we're going to do a debug log here. But first, we do have to ensure that we can actually send a message to the console only if we do hit an actual object. If we hit over here, right, it's not an object. It's just empty space. So we have to actually hit, somewhere around here, right? So we can actually return the value in which we did hit. So I'm just going to say if physics, and we're going to say raycast here. Raycast, and we're going to pass down ray here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a reference here to hit. So it actually does initialize to that value in which we did hit. So practically it's just saying, okay, we did hit 1, 1. It's going to change here as well. So now we're just going to say debug log here. And we're just going to say hit. And we're just going to say hit here. And now this should run when we do attach this aimray script onto our camera here. So it's going to compile here. So of course the disclaimer was for this video is whether your player can move and look horizontally and vertically and such. So we're going to attach this here to our camera. So just, drag it down and attach it to the camera. Let me just remove this. I'm just doing it for example, right? Okay. So our debug log, when we do press, any of these objects before us, we should actually, get a value. So we are, oh, hold on. I think I got to modify something here. So it is saying ray cast hit here, but I think I might have made a mistake. So with ray cast hit, point ray cast hit, not ray. I wonder what I did wrong here. It should return like a specific value. Okay, let me stop this here. Let me open this. Okay, now I'm just debugging, but the intention here is for us to actually return a value we did actually hit. Actually, hold on, let me pause this here. Okay, I know what I did wrong. So when we do say hit, we do have to say point. So we can actually return the point in which we did hit. I was wondering where it was. So now hit, and we're going to access point here. It's going to return the point in which we hit. So it's going to save, and we should run this again, and there should be a value in which we did actually hit. So let's see here. Let's see. So let me look at the console here. So, here we go. So it is showing the coordinates in which we're hit. But I guess I was just using this XY as just an example here. Since we are in 3D space, it is going to return the full XYZ coordinates. So this is kind of just a basic implementation that I got from reading this textbook. I'm just using this as reference if I do forget in the future. But, if you practically right here, you're just casting array and, wherever you look, it's just going to return a value. So this is just to actually cast array. And this is just kind of an overview of ray casting. It's not actually, a rundown on how to like actually shoot a gun in a first person shooter or anything like that. I should probably say that in the description though, but I'll end it from here.